Hello, it is week 7 of Prepared Attack, playing in the Mind Read division. This week we are going up against Igor and the Rutile Artists. Igor has drafted a very interesting team with a lot of bulk between like Supalero, Waddle, Bongus, Bandicraft, and Diabloceras. But also has some very potent offense in Daredillo and Squimage here, and any number of those bulky beasties I just mentioned can also be offensive, so it's an interesting matchup. It's, I guess a couple beasties are fairly similar to ones I faced in previous weeks, like the Supalero Waddle combination I believe I faced against, I think it was Chalk with those two beasties, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember. I'll have to check up some other time. But either way, a whole lot of movement on this team between 3 users of Quick Tag, a Captain and D-Setter in Bandicraft, Welcoming in Bongus, Forager in Supalero. Overall, just a lot of stuff that can stay alive and reposition super easily while disrupting the hell out of my team with a Diabloceras, which is obviously like an overwrite beastie and kind of a centerpiece of the team, as it is with any team. Not sure whether it's going to come or not. I think it's going to. If I had to guess here, I think that Squimage is a bit risky against my very offensive team without super strong redirection support, which Igor doesn't have. And I also think Waddle is a little risky with the number of body attackers I have. If it does come, I'm not quite worried about it. We'll see. So, what I think is coming to this matchup are Supalero, Daredillo, Bongus, Bandicraft, and Diabloceras. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing yet, but I'm fairly positive that we are likely to see a spitball serve from Diablo. Not 100%, and obviously my plan works if that is not what comes, but with that being said, I have built, assuming that that is a very strong possibility, and let's dive into the team. We are once again bringing our new friend Illigus. This week as a much more supportive Trapper set using Sneak Attack, Lay Trap, and Torch Pass. If I win the first game or the second game and end up serving because Igor decides to take counter serve, Illigus is going to be my serve here, clicking Sneak Attack and then being able to block on defense or potentially click Lay Trap. Overall quite useful and able to output some amount of damage before torch passing if it needs to. But the real star of the show here is going to be Crabberay. Crabberay here is a Vigor Beam drum steel set with Groove. I'm finally running a proper drum team with 2 Groove beasties. It only took me 7 weeks of having a drum team. The idea behind this set is, well, not to take damage, and that comes with the help of Hopra running Mighty Yell for the counter serve, as well as Shield and Super Commit just for damage later in the game, and Noizard with Climber, and also having Mighty Yell, Provoke and Rattle just to sort of fill it out, fully maxed like body and mind defense, because I think Spirit is less likely to be super scary for my team than the others if they become an issue. But overall, assuming there isn't any way for Igor to disrupt me, I get 2, maybe 3 Vigor Beams off at full HP at the start of the match, which is a ridiculous amount of damage with my max invested Groove Crabberay. Once I set Drum up, click Steel, and click Vigor Beam, a Supalero with max body defense in the back row takes 54 damage. Bongus takes more. If Bongus isn't invested, it takes something like 80, which is frankly absurd for a body attack into a Bongus. Other things obviously have an even harder time living that. Bandicraft will have a harder time living that. Waddle especially will have a hard time living that if it comes. Squimage will fall over. And so the idea is just get a whole bunch of Vigor Beam bonks out and then clean up with some combination of Hopra, Illigus, and Masquery, this week running Juggle Stomp Drum. A little bit of Mind Defense for good measure, but also some Body Defense just to give me some, like, a good switch into body moves if I ever need one. Because I felt Illigus was probably better off investing into Spirit, just in case of, again, Squimmage or Daredillo running Spirit moves. I don't want it to fall over to a single burnout. Especially considering I already have a very Spirit weak Beastie and Crab Array. But with all that said, Igor has a lobby up, so let me get into that. He is going to be serving this week. And we're all set to go. My cat is playing with my chair, as per usual, because she desperately wants attention. And here goes nothing. If the game plan doesn't work out, hopefully it's fine and I'll be able to torch pass effectively into Crab later in the match, but this is definitely a week where I need to remember, okay, it's time to let a Beastie go down if it needs to go down. Especially the Crab here. Once it's below like 50%, it's doing basically no damage at all, so I definitely want to like give up a point, reset stuff, get some other Beasties in to run some supportive moves while I wait for Crab to come back up. But with that said, like, the other offensive Beasties on the team are by all means still a threat. So, we'll see how that goes. You just want so much attention, don't you? It would be her feeding time if Daylight Savings hadn't just ended. But unfortunately for her, it did, so we're trying to adjust her schedule. I would pick her up and show you her, but she would be very annoyed with me. Just waiting for Igor here. All the rules look like they're set up properly. I feel like at this point it's like Chekhov's gun, except it's Chekhov's cat. Like, if there is a cat in the room, they will be shown to the camera at some point. We'll see if that ends up happening or not. She is very soft and fluffy and loves me a lot and is very traumatized from her infant life. All right, Igor is typing, so we should be here momentarily. All right, let's get going. So what do we see? We see the 5 or not quite the 5 I expected. What do we not see? We don't see Diablo. So that means it's most likely probably a Daredillo clicking launch on serve if I had to guess. Potential for like a Bandicraft or Bongus setting up Quake, but I feel like that's less likely than a launch here. Starting with the plan, just leading Hopra and Crab and getting drums up, getting some Vigor Beams off, dealing some damage. We'll see how body invested stuff is in a moment once the match starts for real, for real. Okay, so what do we have? Daredillo, Launch, Spike, Burnout, very fun. Seems to not have any body defense investment, which is good. Has Spirit defense investment. Same with the Supalero here. Max attack with dive, okay. Tornado Ball, Quickset, Quick Tag, Waddle, that's kind of expected. Max body defense, max spirit defense by the looks of it. Bandicraft, fully mind offensive, and evened out spirit and body defenses. And Bongus, supportive here, a little bit of body defense investment, as well as a bunch of spirit and mind defense. But either way, what we're clicking here is just Mighty Yell immediately. So, once we get drums up and click Steel, We are dealing 83 damage to the Daredillo if it blocks. And I think I do want to hit the Daredillo here. Even if it moves to the back, I'm making a lot more progress by hitting the Daredillo than I am by hitting the Supalero, because the Supalero is, of course, able to just tag out and immediately recover a whole bunch of its health. So we're going to hit the Daredillo here. If it blocks, we don't particularly mind because we just switch into Noizard. No shield on Daredillo is very nice. It does block, it gets the easy receive, so we expect probably a double provoke here, which I am completely fine with. The other option, I guess, would be like a Tornado Ball, but I don't particularly mind if that happens. Spike is dealing 62 damage to Noizard, which is quite a lot, but the Daredillo is forced off the field here, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And I don't mind Crab getting provoked because Crab isn't really needing to click any more moves for another few turns while Drum is already up and it's already in the front row, so it doesn't need to click Steel. The Bandy was full focus, it's worth noting. I think the Bongus was welcoming because I don't see them. I might have Drum, but I need to check in a moment. My team, once again, very much thriving on weeks when I know my opponent can't bring Dread, so I can bring as much redirection and toughness as I want. Igor taking a lot of time to think on this one, which is understandable. We see Provoke, Quick Tag into the Bongus, which is welcoming. Forward Pass, Clear Field, makes sense. Vigor Beam here deals 69 to Bongus or knocks out nearly anything in the front row. I almost certainly just provoke the Bongus here. Bongus nowhere near knocking out Noizard. So yeah, we just click Vigor Beam again. Basically, the hope with this team is I get super ahead in the early game, and get ahead enough that Igor isn't able to catch up. So we'll see. We see the Supalero come in and take 99. I'm not sure if that was a calculated thing or not. But either way, probably a quick tag out here. That or a dive. A dive here would knock out Noizard. I expect if dive is clicked, it's aimed at the Crab Array. If anything, I would like Noizard to go down here so that it can come back up later, especially like with a Torque Pass. So this is not getting me ahead, but the dive will deal very little damage to the Crab here, so I'm not particularly worried about it. Goal here is get Iligus in, because that means I can start setting some traps up. I have 2 turns of Drum left, so I'll need to click it next turn. Crab will be back at full, but getting traps up means that this Daredillo basically won't be able to come back in after this turn. The Bongus does unfortunately have clear field, so there's a chance that maybe I just want to move forward instead. We can force the clear field click though. sneak attacking into the Bandicraft here, while it will boost a zigzag, will mean that if it wants to click zigzag this turn, the Bungus can't be the one who attacks. So we actually see the Daredevil come in and wipe. Perfect. Okay, so we get a point back right away, which is super nice. That means that after this turn, Noizard will be able to come back in, which is super helpful. Again, same logic, gonna sneak attack here. Bandy comes in, only one trap up, so I'm not too worried if Clearfield gets clicked. Dump not doing much damage, Zigzag not doing much more than that. Clearfield isn't really a super useful click for Igor here. And if bounce is clicked, I don't need an easy receive, so there's no reason to just not block the Bandicraft here, I think. And yeah, we do see a zigzag into the crab. Dealing 30 damage, Vigor Beam still doing quite a lot. Will knock out the Bandicraft if it doesn't switch out. I think I just hit the Bandicraft here because then I can tag Noizard back in and start redirecting again if I want to. We do see the block, the safe play there. Expect we might see a bounce into the back row here, potentially. Zigzag will knock out Crab. I would kind of like Crab to go down at some point. Zigzag at +2 should just do 60 damage to Crab if Crab's in the back row, so I'm gonna just move Crab back here. But yeah, we see the double Clearfield Zigzag, which was pretty expected. I'd like to set up drums more than traps here, I think. And I'm gonna hit the Bungus this turn. I think it's fairly likely that Illigus just gets blocked here. Either that or Bandicraft switches out. Bandicraft switching out is probably more likely now that I think about it, so maybe this wasn't the best play. Just because either a Vigor Beam or a sneak attack could knock out Bandicraft. So I think we might see a Supalero here. Oh, we see Daredevil. Spike doing 62 to Noizard as per usual. Nothing knocking out Illigus importantly here. I expect Clearfield to be clicked. If I send Hopra in, or alternatively, now might be the time to send in Masquery, I think. Being able to get some juggles off would be useful. No, I'm gonna block. I know who's attacking. Birdout does knock out Crab, but I'm fine with that, I think. We see a launch here. After Clearfield, I definitely do want Masquery on the field, so I can click that drum. But Crab is going to be back up in a bit, which is super good because it means I have that threat of a strong Vigor Beam again. And Masquery, in the meantime, can set up Drum and start dealing some damage, hopefully. Noisard back up to full. Didn't make sense to tag it in there. We are failing at the job of getting behind, or getting ahead, unfortunately. But I think we're still in a fairly good position. Like, our bench is quite healthy at the moment. Going to be less so once Crab's on it, but Illigus is at full and has Torch Pass available. If the Supalero doesn't come onto the field, then I can't be provoked. We see an immediate burnout, which is interesting, especially considering I tagged in the Masquery. Immediate drum click for sure. Daredillo, if in the front row, will be at risk of a sneak killing next turn. A Stomp will also threaten the kill, so I am actually going to hit the Bongus here. Ooh, we see Bandian. Okay, so Demanding Set, a possibility here. Spike would do a lot of damage, but not enough. Zigzag not doing anywhere near as much. So I can just go ahead and block the Daredillo here. It can't be jazzed, so the Spirit Attack isn't coming out, which kind of sucks because I actually have better Spirit Defense on in this Ilias, but we're keeping traps up, which is getting Igor's bench lower. And the Supalero isn't on the field, which means I can Torch Pass at any time when I need to. Yeah, we see the D-set into Spike immediately. Expected. I expect the Supalero comes in here, which unfortunately I can't do all that much about. Dive is going to deal a lot of damage, but I definitely want to hit into the Supalero so I can click Torch Pass if I so desire. So we're going to set traps up and click Stomp. We see the Waddle come in. Okay. So that could mean a dump after Quick Set, which would do a lot of damage to Noisard specifically. Zigzag not gonna do all that much after a single Quick Set, thankfully. I expect we see a quick tag here into something. Probably the Supalero. But I can click Torch Pass here, and I think I'd like to. Oddly enough, the correct Torch Pass here is Hopra, despite the fact that it's so mind weak, because this will put it in high spirits, and I do have shield available. And if I get Tornado Balled out, then Crab gets back in on full health, which is very, very notable. Yeah, we see the quick set dump. Hopefully I did not miscalculate. Cool, 96, awesome. Super Commit does a whole lot of damage and actually knocks anything out here. So there's a chance we just want to click that rather than Stomp, but... double block... Double blocking the Super Commit does actually save Igor here, so I do need Masquerade to be the one who attacks. Stop here will knock out anything by the looks of it. And then we get a super commit serve, and I can tag in Noizard for a front row super commit after that, click Mighty L, etc., etc. So we're in a very good position despite the fact that we're about to serve and have a 16 HP beastie be nervous. Alright, Bongus goes down. Nice. Super commit here does a lot of damage to this Supalero. And I do need to hit the Supalero because otherwise it can quick tag Demanding Set. It can quick tag and then deset into anything, and I don't know if I want to deal with that. Alright, it's on low HP. Dive is gonna deal about 75 damage to Noizard here, which is, incidentally, not enough to knock it out. And then I think front row super commit should just win us the game, because High Spirits is strong, and super commit is a very powerful move. I don't think I play this game perfectly, but I think I played it pretty dang well. Igor, I assume, currently looking for a way out of this, which I don't think there is one, unfortunately. We see a provoke into the Hopra, which I guess makes sense, but doesn't really matter. Super commit here will not knock out anything and everything unless I move to the front row. But we should be fine. This should... Daredillo in the back row will take less, but it will take 8 damage from traps, which, if my math is correct... Oh, we might still knock it out even without the trap damage, because it might be, like, math. It's probably doing about 75 damage, I think. If my math is correct, which we will probably see. 74, not bad. Okay. I'm good at math. All right, that's game 1. All right, so Igor's picking serve here. I am assuming I will probably be serving here, which means Iligus comes out for sure. All right, Igor wants counter serve as expected. So we'll just wait for the rules to get changed real quick. All right, there we go. Lobby rules are updated, and let's do it. There's also, I suppose, the option of leading with Noizard, but I don't think that's really all that useful. I think the answer is almost certainly Iligus, click Mighty Yell with Hopra, and start clicking front row sneak attacks with some traps up. I think it's going to be a lot harder for us to make some progress this game without getting Crab on the field immediately. We will see. We see the Supalero Waddle lead, which is awful because it means Waddle just walks up and literally anything can tag in. But I'd like to hit the Supalero so that provoking is harder. I hate hitting the super arrow because it means I'm not doing damage, but I'd ideally not like provoke to be clipped here. I'm expecting a quick tag, probably into Daredillo here. Dive not doing that much damage. With that said, Daredillo in the front row is not knocking out Iligus, so there's a chance I could just, like, go for Crab right away. Because I don't think it's ever Hopra getting attacked here. With that said, I think that's probably a better idea to do next turn. I think this turn I should just click Mighty Yell. If it's a provoke and a tornado ball into Iligus, I am absolutely fine with that, because again, that gets us Crab in a safe spot. Or, yeah, we see the Daredillo come in, spike, makes sense. Lay trap, volley, sneak. Definitely hitting the Daredillo here. We see the Waddle come back in, so it can actually quick set something now, which is not great. Spike will still not knock out Noizard, which is good to know. With that said, I could just block the Daredillo. That is an option that is available to me. Let's try that. Let's see what happens. If Iligus gets attacked, it's great, because I can get a super commit and a lay trap off. And then probably start probably tagging Noizard and get some more progress with just front row attacks from Iligus. This is good, because again, I don't want to deal too much damage to the super arrow that isn't going to mean anything in the long run because of Forager. Yeah, we see quick tag into the Daredillo, and they do spike into the Hopra, which means I do lose a point here, but I am absolutely fine with that. We'll see launch over here. I'm going to send Crab in. I'd like to get some progress early. I expect the launch is just immediately coming out into this slot, and I'm fine with that. I just want drum setup, and I don't think Crab is going to do as much this game right away. So I'm going to have Crab set up drum for Masquerie to later come in, which should hopefully be more useful. It is unfortunate to go down a point so quickly, though. But I don't particularly have a way to deal with that other than tagging things in and having my bench be lower, which I really don't want in a match like this, which is so offensive. Setting drums up, clicking sneak probably into the Waddle here. If the Waddle moves forward, then it's a little sad, but I expect we're probably more likely to see a block here, if I had to guess. We see Bongus come in for the clear field. Interesting. Okay. So we once again have this situation where nothing will quite KO Iligus, which is appreciated. With that said, who's the attack going into? And I'm not sure. Crab will go down if hit by a burnout through block. That's going to deal, I think, exactly 69, unfortunately for me. So I think we go into Masquery here. Clearfield, burnout. Crab is now much less threatened because the Daredillo is weakened. So the question is, do I want to lay traps here or do I want to click Stomp? And Sneak Attack appears to be doing significantly more damage than a Stomp will. With that said, if I'm Igor here, I'm probably blocking the Illigus, so I think I might want to just juggle and lay traps. Yeah, this is predicting the block. We'll see how it plays out for me. Yeah, okay, we got it right. Nice. That means that Igor is forced to now waste at least one action volleying, which is very useful. Spike will not knock out Masquery, which is very useful. I can block the Daredillo here and guarantee an easy receive, which I think is certainly just the best play, unequivocally. I'd rather leave my bench out as long as I can and start making progress, especially with this Masquerade, which will probably be able to click Drum quite easily this turn. And Igor is likely to have to switch between the Sneak Attack and a potential +1 or +2 Stomp. We see a bounce. Sneak will not knock out the Daredillo if it walks to the back row. But it will knock out the Daredillo if it blocks. I'm kind of interested in hitting the Bongus to see if I can get it to stop clicking Clearfield, especially if the Waddle tag's in here. But this gets Masquery a boost, which is super useful, so I can potentially tag in Noizard and start doing some shenanigans there. Okay, we see the Supalero come in. Dive will knock out Masquery. I expect Clearfield. It's either Clearfield or Provoke here. I would not be surprised to see Illigus provoked. And I think I'm going to stack in front here. I'm making a hard read here. Yeah. So now what I can do is I can tag my good friend Noizard in the front row and get a couple turns of stacking, which is extremely useful. Sneak Attack not doing enough to make it worthwhile clicking that over Stomp here. I'd like the Bongus to be super low, because again, damage on the Supalero won't mean very much once it tags out. We see the Daredillo come in and take a whole bunch of damage. Noizard not really threatened too much at the moment. We could see a quick tag into Vandecraft or something, but again, that's not going to deal very much damage. So I can just head right into Noizard here and I get a Provoke off. And the great part about this is now Bongus is tagged out, so it can't click Clearfield, and Drum is guaranteed to stay on the field while I'm clicking Stomp these next couple turns. Which is very good for me. Hopefully we can just really weaken down everything on Igor's team that isn't named Supalero here. And maybe even, who knows, get a knockout onto the Supalero in a turn or two once I get a couple more Stomp boosts. I won't be able to juggle this next turn because Clamor is going to make Masquerade +1 angry. But that is fine because, again, I can just click Provoke probably into the Supalero. We see a launch, makes sense. Stomp here threatening a whole lot of damage. If double block comes out, it's dealing a lot of damage to the Supalero. Either way, I'm provoking the Supalero here, so I can't get provoked in return. I think I would actually like to hit the Supalero here, and the reason for that is because I care more about weakening Igor's team as much as possible right now than I do about winning this point right here and now. If I hit the Daredillo here, all of those boosts on Masquerade go away, and I lose like all of that progress I've made. If I hit the Supalero here, yes, it can quick tag out, but it's doing so with not the best health. Noizard is not taking very much damage here, and I can get another juggle off on the next turn if I don't need to click Drum again. But ideally, I want to win the point on this upcoming offensive turn. Yeah, we see Supalero go to back row, Spike clicked, that's all expected. We do need to set drums up again, which I am fine with. Stomp knocks out literally anything here after Groove is up, which is fantastic. I definitely want to hit the Supalero slot and knock out whatever's in the back row, because then Bongus can do a whole bunch of damage to Daredillo on serve. With a rattle. I expect the Supalero likely tags out here. If I'm Igor, I tag out the Supalero here. There's no reason to not tag it out and gain a whole bunch of health back, unless you really need the other beasties in the back, which I don't think Igor particularly needs. We see the Daredillo move to side so that I can't knock out the Supalero. Good play. Rattle here won't deal that much damage to the Supalero, but I think I'm fine with that and would much rather rattle whatever's next to it. The Daredillo being down is super good because that means... I guess actually I do need to hit the Supalero here because otherwise we're probably going to see a quick tag into Bongus and potential bounce to like threaten a bounce. Or Bandicraft for dump. Hitting the Supalero is still good chip, now that I think about it. And basically forcing it off this field with stress is useful. We see Bongus come in immediately, okay. Bounce will knock out Noizard if Bongus uses it from the front row, but I highly doubt that's happening. Unless Igor hard reads me moving up here. I guess the question is do I have a better play? And I think the answer to that is yes, tagging in Ilias. Maybe. That would allow a torch pass, which is quite useful here. Especially into Noizard in particular. But if I'm Igor here, I think I click bounce. I think I just volley, quick tag, and click bounce into the front row. Nope, we see a forward pass dive into the Noizard. Well played. With that said, Supalero is now going to be tired, which means it's going to be stuck off the field for a bit, which is quite useful. Dive doing very little to a back row crab array here, so I could consider sending them in. But I think my best play is actually probably to send in Hopra so I can click Mighty Yell for redirection. We see Dive into the Masquery. I'm pleased with that, actually. I can force this Bongus onto super low health here, which is very useful. How scary is a zigzag from the back row right now? The answer is not really. And I think I do actually want to not hit the Bongus. Because I'd much rather win a point if the Waddle comes in here, or make it so that clear field is a whole lot harder for Igor to click. We do see the Bandicraft come in. So Dump is an available move, but again, that requires clear field to not be clicked. I can just click Mighty Yell here, and I either get a front row super commit off next turn, or I get Drum off and I'm able to click Stomp. Or I get a Juggle off and I'm able to click Stomp. Noise Art should be back up pretty soon, which is going to be very helpful in the endgame. I don't get a front row super commit if a Dump specifically is clicked. But that's fine, because if a Dump is clicked, then I'll be able to, like, get a Juggle off with Masquery. Or there's something I'm thinking about. Okay, we see a Zigzag aimed for the Masquery. Front row Stomp here, I believe, just immediately takes a point, if I'm not mistaken. Noizard going to be back up in a moment. This won't knock out a Daredillo coming in, but that is the only thing it won't knock out. All right. This is either 2-2 or a very weak Daredillo, and I get to tag Noizard in. Either of which I'm fine with. We see the Supalero. I certainly just click super commit here. The Supalero now can't dive, which is very useful. The welcoming tag in makes a lot of sense there. Survive a Stomp if I aimed it that way, but I did not aim a Stomp that way. I think, unfortunately, my drums might expire right here in a moment. But I could send in Crab to guarantee I get them up. We will see what comes in. We see Bongus come in, so Bongus is very low now. Dive doing very little damage. Oh, Hopra is nervous is the issue here, so it needs to be a Noizard tag in for Masquerie, unfortunately. Either that or I click Shield, which is also an option. And I think the answer is, I have one rhythm left. Yeah, I definitely want to click Shield here so that I can get Drum back up and keep Masquerie going. If I get provoked, we aren't seeing enough damage clicked. This does lose me the game if bounce is clicked here, but I don't think that's going to be the case because if I move forward into a bounce, then it's like very bad for Igor. Not something I considered before clicking Shield on Hopra, unfortunately, but if he makes that read, he deserves the game here. I think in any other move I make, bounce is a very bad play. Yeah, we see quick tag into the Daredillo, which is what I expected. Spike comes out, hits Hopra. I can just immediately get drums back up and Masquerie is near full health again. The Bongus needs to switch because it's going to be taking about 20 damage here. So we almost certainly hit the Daredillo. Just get that low. And then we should tag in Noizard and hopefully win from there now that I have a boost, and we'll likely be able to get up to the front row once I tag in our good friend Noizard. All right, we see Waddle come in. That's actually not great, but again, we should be fine. Quick set here is obviously a little bit scary, but dive tagging in and is still less damage than Spike would be, so we should just be okay to tag Noizard in and clean up the game. We see Clearfield quick set into the Bongus, interesting. With a noisy Masquerie, I can't really click anything of use here, but I can double provoke, which is very good. And I have a 50-50 for the game here. And I certainly click double provoke. There's no reason to not double provoke. So I think Igor's best play here is to tag out the Waddle for Supalero so that Bounce can be clicked and Provoke can be clicked into Mighty Yell. I'm not entirely sure, but that would get him some positioning back. So I think I'm going to hit into the Bongus because the Welcoming tag out would do next to nothing here. With that said, a quick set Spike would do... Actually, a Daredillo coming in right here, if I hit Daredillo right there, it's actually incredibly bad, so I'm going to hit the Waddle. If it's a super... the game state is much worse for me if I let a quick set attack come off there. Okay, so we won't have to deal with a quick set attack. Spike does unfortunately knock out Noizard here, so this is a bit of a tough turn. Does Spike knock out anything? It does not knock out specifically Crab. So I can tag Crab in, but Burnout would knock out Crab. This is a very close one. I think it's almost certainly an attack from the Daredillo here. It's just a matter of what. I think the answer is I tag in Crab here and hope, and if I lose the game, I lose the game. We see a bounce. Okay. That was a rough situation for me. I think Bounce was a very good mix up there. Yeah, that Igor says crazy game. Yes, that was a wild one. All right, so game 3. Igor will be serving again because I certainly want to get any attacks off with Crabberay. And we'll see how he adapts to the counter serve I have set up. Hopper Crab to start. If it's a Tornado Ball, that's fine, I think. It might mean I get like 1 less. If it's a Tornado Ball, that's actually a little annoying because it means I can't set up drums immediately. But I'll know based on whether Waddle comes in the serving slot or not. I expect it's Daredillo still because Daredillo serve is just the best thing here. If it's Tornado Ball, what I think I'll probably do is tag in Noizard for Crabberay. But yeah, it's not, so we're just gonna proceed as intended, clicking Mighty L right away. And Drum Baker Beaming. No reason for me to do anything different. I think hitting into the Daredillo just is the best play here. If it becomes a Waddle, that's a little bit rough, but... yeah, we just see the block again, so probably provoke Quick Tag here if I had to guess. No reason for me to do anything other than tag in the Noizard. Yeah, we see provoke into the Crab and quick tag into Bongus. Okay. Spike coming out. Crab very angry. My guess is Super Arrow probably comes in for the Daredillo here. Dive from the front row deals 38 to Noizard. Stacking will not unfortunately do anything because Noizard is in the back row, so there's no reason for me not to provoke here. And I think I'd like to hit the Bongus so that I can get it super low, because it has a habit of getting things back up to health with welcoming, but it can't get itself back up to health. So now that it's down to 31, it only has clear field for that option. Oh, Dive doing a lot more because it's in the front row. Okay. Quick tag into Burnout into Crab here would be rough, but if that happens, I'm fine with Crab going down. With that said, I could also make the play of putting Crab in front of Noizard here. That would deal 48 damage to Crab, but would mean I'm just clicking Rattle, which I kind of don't want to do in this situation. Let's send Hopray in, I think. Yeah, we see Noizard provoked. Dive into the Crab. I would like Crab to go down at some point, but in the meantime, I can probably start clicking Super Commit. Ooh. I think Super Commit is the obvious play here. Like, absolutely chunk the Super Arrow, but Bigger Beam actually does knock out Bongus if I decide to go for it. I'm gonna go for the Bigger Beam. We'll see if I can get Bongus down here. If I can get Bongus down here, that's fantastic. Unfortunately, it will come up later, but it's a point scored, and that's getting ahead. Nice. Very proud of that mix-up. Here we certainly hit into whatever is not the Supalero. I'm definitely going to want to tag Crab in to take an attack and die at some point, but we have the advantage now, which is super useful. If Crab can manage to stay on the field, though, and just gain a whole lot of health back, that's also very good. No KO into the Crab here. Vigor Beam dealing a decent amount of damage here if I just click Mighty Yell. D-set Spike will knock out Hopra. And then Burnout will knock out Crab. I actually need to reposition here. That's a really bad situation. One rhythm left, so I think I'm gonna head out to Masquery. If Igor sees this line, then I've definitely made the right play here, because I will immediately lose 2 points, which I'm not exactly willing to give up 2 points here. And I could obviously do some shenanigans with potentially tagging in Masquery to juggle with a wipe beastie on the field, but I'm not particularly interested in that. We see Waddle come in, interesting. So Tornado Ball into the Hopra, which I'm fine with, especially because I'm nervous. And I gotta start getting stomps off now. Waddle moves forward here. Quickset Dump should not knock out Hopra. So yeah, I'm just gonna go straight for the stomp. Yeah. So +2 dump. That's +1 damage, so it'll do 108, but back down to 72, so I can actually just safely click Mighty Yell here and start dealing a whole bunch of damage with Masquery. Bongit's going to be back up after this turn, but Daredillo is still in the back on 18, so it's not coming back up anytime soon. Waddle doesn't have Torque Pass, Bongit doesn't have Torque Pass. I'm not particularly concerned about the Daredillo at the moment, aside from its ability to quick tag in. Yeah, we see Quickset Dump, so that should do 72, or less than 72 actually, to Hopra. I definitely want to put Masquery in the front row, even though it does make it susceptible to damage, just because the sideways move on the Bongus that could potentially come in is, you know, a threat. Super Commit would knock out the Banditcraft here, actually. The correct play is always to double block the Masquery, because let's look at the stomp damage. Yeah, that makes both of these two survive if they double block the Masquery. So I'm going for the mix-up again. We'll see if it pays off. I didn't see. Yes! Okay, that's 2 points. It's going to be hard for me to lose from here. Hopra is also not going to be nervous anymore, so I'm going to be able to tag them out. And we can actually just knock out the Waddle here on serve. So we have a very commanding position here. Yeah, since Hopper is already nervous, Super Commit won't make it nervous again, so the nervous will tick down after this offense turn, and I'll be able to tag it out for a Noizard or a Crab or a Ilgus. Okay, we see the Supalero come in. Yep, that's the correct play. It's probably going to quick tag out here. after a free ball. All right, how much is front row stomp doing? Front row stomp might just basically start winning me the game, but I guess front row super commit might also do that. I think having Masquerade in the front row is going to be better long term. We see Bongus in, makes sense. Let's just start getting our boosts up. We're at +1 now. We'll be at +2 in a moment. Supalero tags in here. I always want to hit the Bongus. And yeah, the important thing here is dive is not dealing a super threatening amount of damage. A front row spike will actually knock out Noizard in the back. I'd actually much rather just shield Hopra here. I think. I'm not going to click it yet because I have 30 seconds. But provoke actually, what's probably likely to happen here is provoke dive. If Noizard goes down, I think I'm fine with it because then it's about serve. So I think I'm going to tag Noizard in here so that I can get it back up in a couple turns. Obviously, that does lose Masquerade progress if we do see the Daredevil come in and spike immediately, but then Igor's in a rough situation, serving with two beasties who are on very low health with a attack that gets me an easy receive. So assuming I don't mess anything up, we see Waddle come in. Interesting. Forward pass, Tornado Ball. Okay, but unfortunately I did tag in the Noizard, and that means we can just get Drum up, and yeah, this front row stomp should just knock out. Oh my gosh. Drum is exhilarating. I am glad that I finally, like, used Masquerade to its full offensive potential, because I feel like I kind of failed at doing this a lot of times earlier in this season. I've been using it a lot as a support, but no, it's an incredibly threatening attacker. Okay. So, good games to Igor. We will have an interview in a moment. Drum is a good playstyle. I kind of need to remember that sometimes rather than trying to run Rally every other week. But I suppose keeping opponents on their toes is always useful. Right. Hello!
Right. Hello!
Hello, hello! And good games.
Oh, very, very good games.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Your team is just so hard to play against between all the quick taggers.
Oh, quick tag! I love quick tag.
It's such a
very
fun
fun
move.
strategy because the opponent has to think about every single beastie all the time.
Yup, which is always scary.
And your team was also amazing. I loved the Vigor being strategy. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was just like, hold on. If I click Mighty Yell into Hopra, tag in Noizard, and then click Mighty Yell on Noizard, I just get 3 Vigor Beams in a row. And I ran some calcs. Did you know that a just a flat net groove Vigor Beam from Crabberay max invested does 54 to a max invested Supalero in the back row?
54?
It does 54.
Well, that's a lot.
Yeah, obviously was doing a little more here because you didn't have full body defense, but like...
I was surprised. One thing I was surprised at you was when my Superior survived at 1 AGP on the Vigor. Like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, that was good luck on your part for sure. Just with how the calcs played out. Seeing a 99 is always fun in this game.
Oh yeah. Well, I was thinking about bringing Rocket. Like, do I bring Rocket because of the Noizard? I was like,
on Daredillo or
yeah, Daredillo. Yeah. I was like, do I bring Rocket? I was like, no, I think I'll be fine just hitting the Noizard pretty hard and provoking. But no, there was Hopper and Mighty too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, hitting the Noizard with Rocket obviously does a little bit more than Spike, but either way, I think you're two-hitting it, right?
What?
I mean, either way, you're two-hitting the Noizard, even if you're clicking Rocket into it, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, if I'm gonna two-hit it anyway, I think I'm just gonna Spike it and then maybe swap into Superior and provoke to stop a potential shield. But I was also thinking we're gonna bring 3 provoke users to stop the quick tag at all costs.
I came up with the team strategy and I'm just like, this is the strategy. I briefly considered having no provoke users. I'm glad I had one. But I was considering, like last week I ran Whistle Shield on Noizard and I was considering doing that again. Which would have been a bit rough with the provoke on the Superior, I think.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I watched the video. I was like, okay, I think I can deal with that. And I decided to go triple attack Daredillo because it was like, okay.
I saw that and I was like, yes, I love it when people run 3 attacks on a mixed attacker. It's so fun.
Like, okay, I think, okay, if I was gonna provoke my beasties, then I won't have a chance to use shield, so I'll just go full offense.
Yeah, and I mean, Burnout was a massive threat. It's like, if you're in the front row, I think you just knock out my crab flat out because I wasn't invested.
It was, yeah, I think I was doing 103.
In the back row?
At the back row, yeah, if the Daredevil was at the net.
Yeah, just like absurd damage for hitting a beastie in the back row under any conditions.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, well, how do I deal with that one? But yeah, having both like the real like strong body invest and the spirit attack also available was like really good at combating my team, I think. So like that was a great bring.
One thing I really like it, and I've been really using Daredevil a lot this season, is mixed attacking, because I think, okay, I have a very obvious body attack preference in my team. Superior high body attack. Then there's Daredevil 2. I could use Squimmage as well.
Yeah, but so I mean, Squimmage is every attacking type, so it's like, I just sort of have to say, I'm going to invest my defenses decently all around.
Yeah. Then I go like, so I go mix a Daredevil. They cannot, like, fill all the holes, all the defense holes. They will have to have at least one defense that's very low. So I'm gonna mix Daredevil.
Yeah, so and I mean, I was struggling with it game 2 especially. Like when you got because you get to the front row with launch immediately and then can just tag it out for something else and then quick tag it back in immediately.
Oh yeah, also I love the Trapper. I was thinking, oh, will Trapper Ligas? I think Trapper Ligas will come.
Yeah, so and I mean, you brought Clearfield on Bongus for it, and it certainly helped a lot in game 2.
I was thinking about also using it on Waddle, but I was like, no, I think it's not worth it. Even if I just quick set, if Halo hits the other beastie, then all I can do is clear field tornado wall.
Yeah, which is always a little bit weak unless you want to, click quick set and volley normal style, which is always feels a little bit bad, I think.
One strategy I was thinking was using Diabloceras Speedball to stop a possible introduce and rally. I was also thinking it could bring rally.
I did think about running Spirit. My like very first idea was I want to run Contest Crab finally, and that did not end up happening. But it was certainly something I thought about, and I think I realized like this specific strategy here has a Hopra which isn't going to need to use a supporting move after it clicks Mighty Yell, a Noizard which doesn't need its trait after it tags in for the Hopra. So this team was actually specifically built to deal with a Spitball serve.
Like also, another thing I was thinking with the Diabloceras, like if Halo brought Rally, then and hit Waddle would go from the back row bonus to the front row bonus at the net. And then I could use offensive Waddle.
That's so fun.
Because
I want to see offensive Waddle happen someday. It's so cool.
I think I used that against a bird, I think, week 5.
Oh, I need to check out that VOD then.
Because I was like, oh, okay, bird has Rally. So I'm gonna go Diabloceras and offensive Waddle, so if they hit the Waddle, I can use the Rally for myself as well.
That's a lot of fun. I love Waddle. There's a part of me that hopes it gets like a second trait that allows it to, not be shy. I don't know if it'll ever get one, and I mean it's totally fine if it doesn't. Shy is a great trait already, but it'd just be fun.
Right. I agree. I think there was one moment in draft that was like, okay, I don't want to use front row Waddle this time. I wish I had another trait.
Yeah.
Because I think I was thinking about using Patience and was like...
that means you're not moving it up on defense, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is always not what you want to be doing when you want to have it in the front row.
Yeah.
It's a fun beastie, though. It's always had a soft spot in my heart. Like, especially early on in this game, like, I think almost every team I built for a little bit was, like, in, like, December and January. I think every team I built had a Waddle on it, just because it's so good at enabling offense.
Oh, yeah, Waddle is amazing, indeed. With offense, because I can just get something to the net, tag, and then tag out for Waddle at the net, and then I just go quick set.
Yeah, quick set's my favorite move in the game. It's so much fun.
A lot of fun.
I will pretend Dread doesn't exist for a little bit.
You can just dematerialize all the Dread in the opponent's team, say, oh, the Dread, it just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's not there.
Yeah. Run it next to a clear field user who's also an attacker or something, and then you're fine. Right? That's how this works.
Exactly.
Yeah, so overall, really fun games. I had a lot of fun playing this match. And you are up against ArcTech next week. Obviously, don't spill any of your thoughts on what you're building for that, but I wish you the best of luck in that match.
Oh, thank you.
I
think Access is gonna be tricky.
Oh, yeah.
Against...
I don't even know what he has at the moment because he's made a bunch of trades and I'm forgetting what he dropped recently. Obviously, I know he dropped Iligus because that's on my team now, but like your team is pretty well equipped to deal with his. You have a lot of good mind defenders and a lot of good body defenders. And from what I recall, he doesn't have a spirit attacker, which again could have changed. Here, let's check. Surveys and Grozada both there. Never mind. My information is out of date.
I think I think I'll prepare something fun for that match. Very, very fun.
I have no doubt. Well, I wish you the best of luck in the rest of the season, and thanks for chatting.
Oh, I wish you the same as well. Your team
Thank
was
you.
amazing, and the games were a lot of fun.
Glad to hear it. Have a good one.
Same to you. Have a good night.
All right, and to anyone watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, which you probably did if you're still here. Consider subscribing to keep up with all of my future Draft League content and also my speedruns. Check me out on Twitch. And most importantly, have a good time zone.